Hello guys, it's Cathy, and it's Thursday afternoon. Welcome. This is the 5th video in my series on craft fair journals, and this series provides low-cost, simple ideas to make journals to sell at your craft fairs. And today we're going to be making an envelope journal. I was inspired by this journal by Lyric Lover 810 on YouTube. I love her tutorials, very clear and concise, and gives you great ideas. She actually has a series that just started for craft fair ideas. It's not just journals like mine is, but she does have a few, at least in the past has had a few journals. This is her 5th or possibly her 6th year of doing this series. So please take a look at her tutorials or her channel, Lyric Lover 810. Okay, so let me show you what we're going to make today. If you've never made an envelope journal, they're so much fun to make and very simple. This journal closes with a ribbon. So let's open it up. On the front I have some little embellishments with a punch that I made. I've reinforced the binding with some washi tape. And let's look inside. Each side will have a pocket, and in each pocket there will be some sort of a card, at least most of the pockets. This also has a belly band and a card behind that with a little embellishment with a button. This one has a little bag that I made to look like a mason jar with a little bookmark. Again, cards. And a half pocket with a journaling paper. Another pocket with cards on each side, and a tag with a pretty clip. And a corner pocket with a little pad made out of index cards. Another pocket with a card, and that's it. Remember, these journals are simple and low cost. So in this particular journal, I did include a few extras besides the paper. That was the clip and the little button and a bookmark. But other than that, I really keep it low cost. I really, this is almost a minimalist journal. Quite often who buys this are parents buy it for their kids, for their younger kids. They're elementary school age kids, so keep that in mind when you're making them. You might want to have some that have a child theme to them, or things that children like. Okay, so let me show you what materials we'll be using. First of all, the paper pack, or the papers that I'm using, the envelopes, are from Hobby Lobby. They're called Painted Petals, and it's a box of cards made by Paper Studio. Typically, if you shop at Hobby Lobby, their Paper Studio items are 50% off. So this was originally $10. It was half price for $5. It has 50 cards. That means each card is a dime. Each card in each envelope is a dime altogether, which is great. So for each envelope book, you need 5 envelopes. So out of this box, you can almost make 10 journals. That means each of your journals is going to be 50 cents to make. You can almost make 10, I'm saying, because you need 6 cards for the journal so that you can use the paper. If you choose not to use the same paper throughout, you can use your scraps, and then you can make 10 journals out of this box. Okay, so they had some really pretty collections of cards as well. And we need a hole punch. A regular hole punch will do. hole punch, corner rounder, 1-inch hole punch. I have glue on my fingers. You need some washi tape of some kind. I used a clip, a little heart clip. You can use any sort of clip, or you don't even have to use a clip if you don't want to. I also used a button, scissors, glue, and ribbon for the closure. Okay, let me set this aside and we'll get started. The first thing you want to do is take out 5 envelopes. So I have mine already taken out right here, making sure I have 5. Whoops, sorry about that. I put this here because we're working with envelopes. I thought it might be easier for you guys to see what I'm doing. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is make the body of the journal. So take one envelope and open it up with the opening facing up. Take a second envelope, open it up, put the opening facing down. Place the flap inside the first envelope all the way up as far as you can get without crossing the fold line on the flap. Then fold it over. And you're not worried about the flap of the first envelope. Just leave it there. What we're going to do is you're going to slip some glue and glue in that flap. You don't need a whole lot. And mash it down. Okay? Take a third envelope. Open it up, face it down, place it in the exact same way. Be sure to get it in as far as you possibly can. Okay? Fold it over, and you always want to make sure everything is lined up because it's easy for it to get wonky. Place glue in, mash it down. Make sure that glue is good and stuck. Take a fourth envelope, open it up, do the exact same thing. Place the flap in facing up. Oh, I should have put a Band-Aid on my cut. I'm sorry. And as far in as you possibly can. And it's going to get harder to do because everything's thicker. So make sure you get it in as far as you can. Fold it over and glue it in. Now take your fifth envelope and we're going to do it the opposite way. Oop, I did this wrong. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back. What I did wrong was I put this in as if it was the last envelope, but it's not. I mean, it wasn't supposed to be. Now it is. So I'm going to go back and put this envelope in, flap side down. I hope I'm not confusing you guys. As far in as it will go, open it up. It's easy to correct your mistakes on these if you get the directions wrong. Okay, so let me go over so as not to confuse you what I did. I put the first envelope facing up. Then I took a second envelope and I put it facing down and put the flap in as far as it could go up to the crease line. I did that for a third envelope, put the flap in as far as it would go up to the crease line. I did it for a fourth envelope, faced it down, put it in as far as it could go up to the crease line, and the very last envelope, I did it the opposite. I faced it up so that on the last envelope, you have an envelope facing up and an envelope facing up, okay? Then you have the back and a flap. So the next thing we want to do is we want to cover the back flap. What you want to do is, if you want your back flap and your front flap, or your back cover and your front cover to match, you want to pick a card and cut it in half and use both pieces on your covers. I'm going to use a cutter for this, just because I want this part to be perfect. A little better than if I was cutting it myself. And while I have the cutter out, I'm going to go ahead and, with the other 5 cards that I chose, remember I chose 1 card and I chose a total of 6 cards altogether. So I'm going to, since I have my cutter out, instead of using my scissors, I'm going to cut them all in half. I didn't ask you to get the cutter in the beginning, and I apologize for that. You could just use your scissors, which is what I did at first, but I kind of wanted to get this a little more exact. And my cutting isn't always exact. Those of you who watch my videos know. And another one. And last but not least, okie doke. I'm going to put that away. And now we're going to cover the back flap. And all I'm going to do is glue it down. Get as close to the edge as you can. Don't put on too much glue because the envelope paper is a little fragile. Get as far over to the left edge as you can so you're not going to impede the binding. Okay? Then take your flap, and what we're going to do here is I'm going to pick a contrasting color, and I'm actually going to use this. And Cathy's going to measure Cathy's way, and I'm going to cut a strip to cover the flap. And those of you who don't measure my way, it is a 2-inch flap. 2-inch, and it would be 2-inch by 5.5. Let me make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5. That's correct. And don't worry about it not covering this little white edge at the end of the flap. We're going to take care of that in a minute. So I'm going to glue this down. And put it as close to the left edge of the flap as I can. Again, so as not to impede the binding. Let me squish that over a little bit. As far over as I can. And then what I'm going to do while I have it, I'm going to clip off this little edge right up to the edge of the paper that I just put down. I'm almost removing a little little triangle. I was going to say isocles. I don't know. Anyway, that kind of a triangle. And since there's a little white showing here, I'm also going to trim that. If I had measured in the beginning, I probably wouldn't be having to do this, but I didn't. Okay, now we're going to cover the front cover. And I'm going to use the same material, the same paper we used on the back. Because remember, I cut that card in half. And this time, I want to get as far over... Oh, you know what I forgot? I want to get as far over to the right edge. Let me finish that sentence, but I forgot to put my ribbon underneath the back flap. So I want to do that now before it dries too much. And in order to do that, I'm going to take my bone folder. I'm just going to try gently to open up the center without ripping it too badly. Let me see what I did. What damage did I do? Hopefully, you'll remember not to do it this way, not to do it backwards, because I did end up ripping the envelope a little bit. I'm going to put some glue in there. And I'm going to stick my ribbon in there. Hopefully, I'm going to stick my ribbon in there. I'm going to stick my ribbon right over the edge. You know that's not working. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on the top, and I'm just going to cut a little circle out of this. It seems to be clogged up here. Let me empty it. So I'll cut out a circle here. And we'll put it right over the ribbon. And that'll still keep it down. And it will still be strong. I'm going to put the ribbon down first. Then we're going to put more glue on top of the little circle. And that's fine. Okay. And I'm actually going to cut another circle for the front because since I made the mistake on the back, I don't want it to look like a mistake. So I'm going to do the same mistake on the front. Okay? And we're going to put the paper down, making sure we're as far over to the right edge as we can get, because we're trying to stay clear of the binding, of the spine rather. Okay. And the ribbon, I'm going to put a little down here. And a little over here. And here we go. Wouldn't even know it was a mistake. Just my artistic ingenuity. Okay. Now we have the basic for the envelope almost. We want to fold this flap down. And press it as far as you can, as hard as you can, so that this doesn't get bunched up on the spine. Then over the edge, we're going to open it back up. We're going to put some washi tape here. And even though the washi tape is tape, I always like to, I'm going to close it again, I always like to put glue on it because invariably it'll come up. The reason I do this is because this is an envelope journal. You want to reinforce it. It needs to be reinforced on the spine. So I'm going to put it right in the center. And then I'm going to press it down, cut it off, making sure I'm getting it into the little crevices of the spine. I'm going to open it up and make sure I press it into the spine. It's going to get a little bunchy, that's okay. I'm going to trim it up. You can also do it with a piece of, instead of washi tape, you could use a piece of paper. But I think washi tape gives it a little more strength and flexibility that using paper won't give you. And I want to make sure that the glue's not bunching up though. Okay, that's it on that. And while we're here, I'm going to take a punch and I'm going to put a few flowers on the front. And I'm using the back of one of the cards that I cut. You can use any kind of punch that you want or any kind of decoration that you want. Don't feel that you have to use, you know, this exact punch, obviously. And because I didn't cut it correctly, I'm going to hide that under there. So you'll never know. So I'm going to put this one on first, glue it down. And I like things at an angle, as you know. And I'm going to put that right there, as if love is falling. There we go. And that's it for the cover. You can add some lace if you'd like, but I'm not going to. Okay, so now it's time to add our covers for the inside. So you're going to take your card pieces and you're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that is 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'm going to put a notch in them using my hole punch right in the center. And if you have a hole punch, you'll notice on the side it has a little arrow. That tells you where to put your paper so that it'll make a half circle for you. It'll make a notch. This is pretty paper. Okay. So now it's just deciding where you want your paper to go. So I'm going to start with this one. Let's see what I have. They're all kind of similar, aren't they? Then this one. Turn the page. Then I'm going to do this one and this one. Yeah, this one. Then I'm going to do this one and this one. Actually, no, I'm going to do this one. And then in the back, I'm doing this one and this one. Okay, so all we have to do now is glue these down. What you want to make sure is with your glue is don't get it into the inside of the envelope. So when you're doing this part, you know, make a thin line. And I'm going to go as far over to the left as I can on these. Because again, this is where your binding will start to get bunchy if you don't pay attention to the crease line. And if you feel that you need to trim them, go ahead and trim them. And make sure, which you can see I did not do and I should have, that your notches match up. What I'll do is I'll put some sort of something to cover that. But you want to make sure that they match up. And same thing. We're going to do that on all the pages. Make sure you're as far over to the left as you can get. And this, you want to be as far over to the right as you can get. That matched up a little bit better. Far over to the left. And on the side that doesn't have the opening for the envelope, I'll show you in a second what I mean. This side, well, these sides don't have openings for the envelopes. You're not obligated to make this a pocket. You can actually just cover it if you'd like. A lot of people do that, but I like to give as many pockets as I possibly can. And places where they could tuck stuff. Far over to the left. And as far over to the right. Okay, so our base is done. You want to make sure you fold it and it folds appropriately. Okay, so we have here, 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 and here. Now it's time to decorate. First thing we'll do is we'll put a belly band, and then I'm going to put a card. Maybe I'll actually put a little, not a belly band, but what do you call it? A vertical flap that will cover that hole there. And I'm going to use, you can use scraps. I'm actually going to use some paper from this collection, Tickle and Tweet, from Hobby Lobby Paper Studio. It was $8.99 and I got it for half price, which was $4.50. This is kind of pretty. A little, nah, I don't think so. I think I have one in here that was hearts. Had little hearts on it. There it is. So we'll use that. And I'm going to make it go to about right here. What I love about paper crafts, you can really cover up your mistakes without too much of a problem. Okay, so I'm going to, what am I doing? Okay, I'm going here. I mean, because there's a notch, I'm not going to be able to put glue over the notch. So you want to make sure you don't. I'm going to get my bone folder under here and make sure I didn't get glue in the opening. It can still serve as a holder. And I want to put some sort of little embellishment there. Nah. Let's see, where did my paper go? Let's find one other little paper from here. And I'm going to cut a square of this, kind of a square. You know me, nothing's ever perfect. It's got to be a little smaller. And I'm going to put that, it's got to be a little smaller. Well, I can actually cut it off. And that's simply going to go in the center. And let's see. And a button's going to go in the middle. And you don't have to do this, but I'm going to string some string through my button so that it looks like I've labored over sewing it. I also use quite often paper thread. I just cut little strips of paper and put it in to look like string. And there we go. Cut that off, glue it up, mash it down, and glue it down. And that'll dry nicely. And that's a nice little embellishment. Then we turn the page. And over here, I wanted to put some sort of bag. And yesterday, or the day before yesterday, I made some glossine paper. And what I do is I learned this from Nick the Booksmith. I take tracing paper. I take all the other paper out of my printer and I put a stack of tracing paper in that I've removed from the pad. I get 25-pound tracing paper. It comes 9 by 12, so I have to cut it down to 8.5 by 11.5. I put it in my printer and the setting I put paper light recycled. Anyway, so I made this, and then I actually had a digital paper that had a mason jar on it. So I made it into a little bag. And I think it's so cute. So I'm going to glue that down. And I'm not going to glue across the top part because I want people to be able to get into it more easily. And I'm going to put that, I think I'll put it on this side. And in the bag, I'm going to put a bookmark because you know that's my signature. I love bookmarks because I love to read, and I like to encourage people to read as well. So the fact that I just cut this all wonky, really wonky, and I'm going to cut it about here. It's going to be a little bookmark, and I'm going to round the corners. And put a hole in the top. And put some string in the top. I have glue all over my hands. All over my fingers. It looks like my skin is peeling. It really isn't. And we're going to stick that right in here. Cute. Okie doke. Let's see what comes next. Maybe a pocket over here. I think I have some of this green left. The hearts, that'll be pretty. So I want to mark it. Gives me an idea of where to make my wonky cut. And I wanted to keep it off of the edge here, which I did. I'm going to cut a notch in it. All right, like that. I'm actually going to round this corner. Just to give it some interest. Glue it up. And put it on. And I'm using some scraps from over here, and I'm going to put a paper inside. Might be a little, oh no, that'll be the right size. Yeah, let's cut off that. And we'll round the edges. And right like that. We're going to go back and make cards to go in each of these pockets as well. At least most of them, not all of them. And I'm going to put a clip on this one. And under the clip, I'm going to put a tag. So I need another piece of paper for a tag. I don't want to use that one. Where'd my paper go? I just had it. I'm losing my mind. Holy guacamole. I've lost my paper. There it is. Fell. Okay. So let's see what color would be good. Well, I'll try this one because I really like this one and I wanted to use it somewhere. And we'll make a little pretty tag. So we're going to make it about that wide. I always make things crooked. I guess that's how I see the world. And make the tag. Use that as a template on the other corner. So it's the same. Put in a hole. Let's do it this way. And I'm going to cut off the end. It's a little too long. Okay. And I'm going to use a different material for the tie. This one. Use a shimmery one. Pretty. And remember, if you're doing this for craft fairs, you don't want to spend too long doing it. When I do them, when I'm not showing other people how to do them, I do them assembly style. So I'll have all my envelopes out and I'll make all the bases for the 9 that I can get out of this box. And then I have the paper pre-cut out. So I cover it quickly. I have tags pre-made. So everything moves rather quickly. So you can end up making, 9 of these envelope journals really in about an hour and a half. You'll notice I'm not spending a lot of time decorating. I'm putting very minimal things on each page. And the last page, I'm going to put a corner pocket, and I'm going to use the rest of this material here. Put it on that side, no, one on this side. And then we'll make the cards for each of the pockets, and then we'll be fini. And in that pocket, I'm going to put some cards, index cards. These are 4x6. I have 4 of them here. I'm going to fold them well with my bone folder, line side in. I'm going to take a stapler and I'm going to staple along the spine. Then I'm going to take the excess of this paper and I am going to make a topper for it. And I'm going to glue that topper in place. That's simply to cover up those staples and give it a little sparkle, little nice look. I'm going to put a rhinestone. I love rhinestones. If I can find them. My plate of junk. getting bigger and bigger. Ooh, the gold looks pretty. So we'll put the gold on. I'm gonna, put it on there. Always put adhesive under your always put glue under your adhesive items to make sure they stay. And that's it. Pretty. And we're not going to put anything on that side. And that will be it, except for the cards. So, for the cards, I'm going to use some scraps. Some of the scraps are cardstock, some of them are not. And that's okay. I need to get rid of these scraps. Some of them are larger than others. I'm going to round the corners of all the cards. That's going to go in here. Actually, I am going to use cardstock. Taking all my scraps. Straighten it up. Round the corners. We're going to put that right in there. I didn't put anything in there, but we can. I'm just going to leave it for now. We have a card there. We have something there. We need a card in each of these spots. So let me take a card. I may as well use this one. Cut it in half. Then we'll have two. Round the corners. Put that in here. Pretty. And round the corners. I don't want to put it there because I already have one. I'll put it over here. And need another card. I still have the heart card. I love these. Fold it in half. Again. And if you have journal life cards, or what is that, project life cards, you can just use those. You know, a lot of times we have those. You can pick them up usually at Tuesday morning if there's one near you. For 100 of them for like $9.99. I mean, they're very inexpensive. And they always have nice sayings on them. And I'm going to put that here. It'll pull that cover. And voila, we are done. Make sure it folds. Let's see what we've done. So we have the cover, cover the flap, reinforce the binding. We have a pocket with a card. We don't have a, I am going to put a card in there. One little card. I'll put this one in. I'm sorry, I think I keep going out of the frame and I apologize. I'm not myself today. And round the corners. And that slips right in there. Then we have a pocket and a little card. pocket and a card, jar and a bookmark, card, tag, no card. We can put this one over there since I have it here anyway. Sometimes you have to kind of wiggle it in. I'm going to go in with my bone folder. Clear it out. Clear the drain. Yeah, there we go. There we go. And that's it. Well, I hope you like this video and this project. I hope to see you making some. If you make them, it'd be great if you put a picture in the comment section of the tutorial. I'm going to be selling these for $4, maybe $5, and 2 for $9. I think they're adorable. So anyway, have a great day, and thanks for watching. Please, if you don't mind, give me a thumbs up. I appreciate it. Thanks. Bye.